we are not condemning these sort of
No,
things at all.
no,
I ultimately think whatever makes you feel good about yourself is worth it. And
yes.
it's nobody's business but your own, you know?
I'm the same way. I feel
I
the same way.
celebrate
So
it.
no
More power
judgment.
to you. No,
Yeah.
no.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. We are going to be sharing with you why we don't get any injectables and whether or not we ever will. And I have here Mary from Skin Obsessed Mary, who is literally obsessed with skincare. And if you've been following me, you know that I am too. So if you have not checked out her videos, please go and check out her videos. I absolutely love Mary from Skin Obsessed Mary. But a lot of you have asked about why I don't get any injections. And so I really wanted this video to be more of a girlfriend to girlfriend chat rather than me just talking to the camera. So please, any of you also comment. We would love to hear from you. So hello, Mary. Welcome.
Hi. It's so nice to be back. Thank you.
And yes, and I'm so glad that you're here. So let's just get started right away with Botox. So tell me, like, have you ever thought about it? Would you ever do it? Why don't you? What are your thoughts?
I mean, first of all, it's just such an interesting topic because you and I, we kind of live and breathe this stuff. We talk about these things all day and we tinker a lot with devices. You and I both do. We love our devices and we feel that they work. But the topic of Botox, it's funny because when we spoke about this, I guess a few weeks ago, when we talked about doing this video, you know, the questions were around Botox and fillers and all sorts of things. And I've never considered it ever. And I realized the more that I thought about it, you know, why not? I know loads of people that do it. I mean, they do. Loads of people I know do it. But I think there are a couple of reasons. The first reason is, you know, it's for wrinkles, right? It's for basically getting rid of wrinkles. That's what that is there to do. And wrinkles aren't really my biggest issue, I guess. And I think that they, you know, they don't really bother me. I think that we age and we know we're going to age. And yes, I have wrinkles around the crow's feet. Now, I don't have extreme wrinkles, you know, I don't. And I'm lucky in that respect. I'm a hair's breadth away from 53 and I don't have a huge amount of wrinkles. So it's just not a problem. Now, if I had really deep lines, I might be having a very different conversation with you right now, you know, but I just, for the most part, I'm not bothered by them. The second thing for me is the thought of injecting things into my face that don't live there naturally, right? I just don't want to do it. I'm just not interested in filling my face with stuff that's not supposed to be there.
I agree with a lot of what you said as well. I can get blood drawn, no problem. Like I can even watch the needle going into my arm. It doesn't bother me, but there is something about the needle in my face and injecting something that is completely foreign that really freaks me out.
Yeah.
And like you, I am thankful I don't have a lot of those wrinkles that I feel like I am bothered by them so much that I need to do something else about them. And for me also, it's about long-term consequences. I just feel like we haven't been using it long enough to really, I don't know, maybe we have and I just don't know, but to know what type of long-term results there could potentially be. Like, yeah. I know that there was a study, and I'm not going to freak anybody out because I don't think that, let me just tell you about the study. So the study was about where they injected Botox, and it was in mice, it was not humans, in certain areas. And after a certain amount of time, the mice ended up getting osteoporosis and had bone loss. So there's been like a lot of discussion in some areas that I've been reading. Now, that doesn't mean that that's going to happen with us. I haven't, you know, with humans, and I haven't seen any human studies. But my whole point is that do we even know long-term, like, and this kind of takes me, and we can transition to filler here in just a moment as well. But like, for example, when filler came out, and after I don't know how many years, but they found out there was a certain type of filler, like it wasn't dissolving completely and it's lingering in the face. Yep. And it's like, oh my gosh. And they didn't know that until, you know, they're, you know, doing these injections. And I guess that's what kind of also freaks me out. It's like, I'm not sure that we have any long-term, you know, like what that is really going to do long-term, which kind of really, makes me scared.
I'm exactly the same. So on the fillers, I would see that in pretty much the same territory. And I just, the thought of injecting, I can't even watch people put needles into other people's faces. Like it does make
Yes.
me a little uncomfortable. I kind of
It
have to
makes
do one
me
of these.
uncomfortable too.
It's squirmy and I just don't think it's for me. Now, again, if I had something that was really bothering me
Mhm.
and I thought that Botox would fix it, then I'd probably do it. But I don't. So it's very easy for
Yeah.
me to go, no, thank you. I don't want to do that. And I guess it does
I
pose a bigger question, which I think is coming down the road in this video is at what point might you actually do some of these things? Do you know?
Right. Yeah. I think that that's a good point as well. Like, if things were different, would I feel differently about it? Like, if things were different on my face, would I think differently about it? Like, I remember in the past, I was, being a younger in my 20s saying, I would never blah, 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 blah. And then, like, you do that thing.
And then
You're like, never say never, right? And then you're doing it later on. And it was just like, oh, because now you're living that experience. And so it's completely different. And I remember also in my 20s saying, when the first plastic surgery came out, I don't know if you remember, I remember a first facelift, I think it was on the Today Show. I remember this. It was like a really big deal. And I think I was in my 20s and I was just like, oh, I'm going to grow old gracefully. I would never do that, blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, you get there and you're like, what the hell just happened to my face right now? Like there was no, I'm like, no, no, no. So, but this is really interesting because, oh, go ahead. You want to say something?
I was going to say, but here's the interesting thing is that the things that bother me right now, and I think you feel the same, the things that bother you, we can correct at home, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I have
that's what I was
seen
gonna say.
my wrinkles decrease. Oh, sorry. I've seen the
No, you're
wrinkles
good.
decrease anyway because of the LED light therapy, because of radio frequency, because of all these
Mhm.
tools that are building collagen and helping to plump things up. And I'm just seeing that the years have kind of slowly started to go to the wayside because of these at-home devices that are safe. You know what you're doing. They're not strong enough to actually do any damage. And I love that in
Right.
your videos, you emphasize that every time when we're talking about radio frequency. It's not going to burn you. You're actually not going to burn fat. It's actually not strong enough to do that here. And I think that these things, and that's why we keep using them because they work, and they address, I mean, I look at your before and afters. Every time you put up a video, you put up that little photo and I'm just like, damn. The results are amazing and you've done all that at home.
Yes. And
that's why
that's
you don't
another
have
reason.
to get Botox.
That's why we
Or
don't,
fillers.
because right. And I know everyone's different about their expectation and what they would feel comfortable with. To me, it's kind of like exercise and nutrition, right? There's the person that just wants to lose 5 pounds. There's the person that wants to be have that toned look or the ballerina style look, or who wants to go into weightlifting and compete. Like all of those things are different and so, and I feel like that's kind of the same with the face. Like there's certain expectations that everyone has as well. And it's definitely about what you're using, the devices and, the skincare, your nutrition. And I'm fine with what I'm doing right now.
But I think the other thing is to get the benefits that we have gotten, you have to be consistent with devices.
You have to be
just want a
consistent.
quick fix, then you go and get Botox and you're fine.
Right.
And
I can see that.
Botox is you have to do it, regularly, and
Mhm.
it goes, and then you have to keep it up. And I'm not really interested in paying for that on a regular basis. And again, I know that I can do this stuff at home. I have no problem using, as we all know, multiple devices throughout the week.
Yeah, me too.
I did a video just very recently on my schedules. I'm doing at least 2 devices every single day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Totally.
LED is one of them. I do them every single day. But to me, it's not a big pain. None of them are time intensive. They're little bursts of things here and there. And I see the results and think for 52, I'm doing pretty well. So that for me is the motivation and why I don't go to the clinic, because I can do these things at home.
Yeah, me too. Now, and this is the only thing that I think that I would ever consider Botox, is if I had migraines really bad and nothing helped, because I know that Botox can be helpful in getting rid of migraines. Thankfully, I don't have that issue. But I know that is something that many women do, and it helps with their migraines. And my everyday quality of life is so important to me. So, if I tried everything, then I would. Then, if I thought that would help and nothing was working, absolutely, I would do that in a
But I
heartbeat.
actually see that as a health issue, right? More than
Yes.
a vanity thing. It's not about how I
Yeah.
look. It's about how I feel. And in that
Yes.
case, I mean, I will pop any pill. I will take just about anything that takes care of how I'm feeling. 100%.
Yes.
Same way I take HRT. I mean, I don't have a problem with any of that. And I would be doing Botox if it got rid of migraine, without a doubt.
Without a doubt. And I also feel like when you are searching for someone to do that type of procedure, and with fillers, like there's so many things that can go wrong and very little that goes right. Like like it just takes one little where you are placing it, and it just, I've had a friend of mine and she was so upset. She went and got Botox in her forehead, and the way that the lady did it, like her eyebrows were way up here, and I don't think you'd like, and tell me, anyone comment if that's reversible. I'm not sure, but if it is, you're going to have to pay like probably an arm and a leg to reverse it. I'm not sure if it is, but she was so upset because her eyebrows were way up here. And she showed me photos. She goes, and then we started talking, and she's like, tell me what you do. Cause I don't want to do that again.
I'm hoping that will go, right? When it wears away, will that?
Yeah, when it wears away. But now you've got like what, 3 or 4 months, that you're walking around. You know, that's another thing where I'm just like, oh my God.
You see, and that would be one of my big questions about all these kind of procedures is it's done badly. So much more than I feel it's done well. Because if it's done well, I shouldn't notice it. But the amount of bad work that's being done to people, it freaks me out. And here's the thing.
It freaks me out.
There are lots of celebrities that are paying top dollar. And I'm thinking, that doesn't look good. So you have access to the best people in the world, and that doesn't look good. Now, not to say it looks botched, but it just doesn't look like themselves anymore. And I think that is my biggest fear, is that I want to have an expressive face, right? And I want to look like me. And I've seen people that I don't want to name any names because I'll probably get yelled at, but there are actresses and some that look really good, but they just don't look like what they should look like. And I just don't want that. Do you know? I would much rather have the wrinkles like Audrey Hepburn, you know, who had very deep wrinkles, but was beautiful. And she's like, I've earned every single one of these. I thought that is such a nice way. She refused to be photoshopped. She didn't want people getting rid of her wrinkles because she celebrated them. Now, I don't know if I go exactly that far just yet, but they're mine. And, you know, if I can do something to sort of smooth them out a little along the way, I will. But I just don't want to not look like me.
Yeah, I have the same. Yeah, definitely. Me as well. So let's talk. Should we go? I think that's probably for fillers too. I'm assuming is how you're feeling.
I'd say both.
Yeah, me too. Any type of injectables, threads, that really freaks me out. How people put these things into they like, I'm like, oh
no.
And some people even do them at home, and I'm like, oh my God.
I watched one and I was like, I just wouldn't.
I know, it really stresses me out.
There's no sagginess that I think that's worth, in my opinion.
No,
you know, no. I just know that I will never do threads. I will never, ever do threads. I'm quite confident I can say that. It is far too gross, and it just weirds me out. No offense to anybody who's done them. I'm just saying personally. Yeah. Oh, I don't. By the way, we are not condemning these sort of things at all. No. I ultimately think whatever makes you feel good about yourself is worth it. And it's nobody's business but your own, you know?
I am the same way. I feel the same way. So no judgment.
No.
Yeah. No. And if you've got a good injector, I mean, definitely more power to you. That's going to be great.
The good ones, we don't even know they're happening.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're so good. It's not like, oh, wow, your Botox looks really good. You don't really notice it. Like there should be some level of movement. I do think it's a nuance. And I think to get the skilled people, you know, they are like gold dust. So a really good job, we won't even notice. We'll just go, gosh, she's awfully pretty, you know, or whatever. And that would be about the end of it. You wouldn't notice it. It's when you see it and you're like, oh, you know, that I don't want that to be me. I don't want someone looking at me and saying that.
Yeah. Me too. All right. So now let's get to the conversation then. Would you ever consider plastic surgery? or some sort of in-office treatment? Like
Now,
what
we're
is
not
on your
talking
face?
like, we're not talking like radio frequency kind of stuff. We're talking invasive. We're talking surgery.
I don't know. Let's talk about both. Want to talk about both?
Sure.
Like in-office radio frequency, and or plastic surgery.
Good question on the laser, like the in-clinic stuff. I think that it had pretty much been a no for me for years. And then through Callison, they connected me with a clinic here in Dublin that's run by a dermatologist. So one of the best. She's a plastic surgeon, does a lot of sort of car accidents, that kind of thing. So this is a clinic that she has on, on the side. It's her side hustle. And they're wonderful and they're extremely skilled. Like I've gone in for facials and things, not non-invasive stuff. Are there things I might consider under the right doctor for like microneedling or something like that? Maybe. I'm not there. It's the one thing, if you get the right people, that they're putting things in your skin that's your skin automatically produces or whatever, right? Or you're putting in growth factors or things that are really there to help with the skin's processes. Then that I would be open to. I just don't want to spend the money and I don't want to make that a regular thing when I can do these things at home, right?
Yeah.
That's how I feel about those type of in-clinic procedures. There is an openness to it, but I have no plans. How about you?
So for in-office procedures, I feel pretty similar as you do as well. The only thing that I am really curious about is laser, and a particular laser that really helps with resurfacing and texture.
Okay.
I am interested in knowing. I feel like there's nothing on the market that helps really, that can do what in-office laser can do for skin texture. And that is something that I'm really interested in. I'm not now, but I think what I want to do first is really going strong with my chemical peels. So in doing a couple of years of that to see, like, because chemical peels are going to help you with your skin texture. And so I'm like, if that really, because I get a lot of milia. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
a lot. And I have
changed my but
I get underneath the eyes. I get it here. It's so frustrating. And yes, I do glycolic. Like I do all of that, retinoids and, glycolic acid and all of that. So it's very frustrating. So I'm like, I would love the smooth skin. And I feel like I've got some work to do in that area. So I'm going to go in hard with my TCA peels and for a couple of years and see where that takes me in a couple of years, and then reassess if that is something that I might want to do. And if I did, I would definitely take everyone along with me for sure. But I find that kind of interesting. And I don't think that at the moment there's anything except for chemical peels that can really help with texture. I mean, retinoids for sure.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Only so much.
You've talked about the peel, so that's my new journey. I've been influenced by you, and I intend to do it. I still need to purchase them, actually. I'm going to be in the States next month, so I'm going to pick it up while I'm there. So you can take me on that journey. I may have you hold my hand when I do that, because I'm a little scared of it. But yeah, I can understand that. Texture isn't as big a problem for me. I'm pretty lucky on that. I have a lot of scarring from a car accident in high school, so that's where I have a lot of texture problems. But there really isn't anything that's going to be able to help with that. I think. But be very interesting to see in 2 or 3 years' time when we have this conversation again.
I know it will.
How far you've gotten with the chemical peels, right? And
yes,
see how you feel.
Yes,
that'll be interesting.
Yeah. So far, I've been really liking my results with them. I've done 4 peels and I need to do a few more. It's just finding that perfect time, because you really need to get
downtime. Is that why?
The downtime. Yeah. About 3 or 4 days, 4 maybe, depending on kind of what you're doing. So I'm like, I got to find that time. All right. So as far as anything else more invasive, or what on my face that I really like, if it got any deeper, are definitely my lines on my cheeks. So I battle those lines
on your cheeks.
These lines.
I never even see those lines.
That is what, oh God, thank you so much. But I see them every day. But
Okay.
That is what led me onto this whole journey. And radio frequency definitely has helped. And if I do not keep up with this, because these lines, also, which are the mid-cheek lines, they like, my mom has really heavy bags. She doesn't really take care of her skin, and she's always in the sun. But anyway, love you, Mom. You know, Mom. But and those, if you've got those really heavy bags here, you get those lines usually.
Okay.
So thankfully, I don't have the heavy bags. But I think it's because I got on the bandwagon very quickly. And I'm thinking if I didn't, that these would have definitely become more heavy. And that for me is just no. So if this gets any deeper, the radio frequency has definitely helped these lines for sure. I have to keep up with them though. So my face will really drop and that line will really start to show if I'm not consistent with my radio frequency. And it's radio frequency that helps, nothing else that I've tried. Microneedling doesn't help, nothing else. It's radio frequency for me. And I think it's because it's like, it's tightening that skin up a little bit so that line, kind of goes away. It's pulled. And when I do research as far as like what people are doing in office for this line, it's usually radio frequency is what they're doing as well.
Okay.
Now, if it's really deep and intense, it's very difficult to get rid of. Like, I will never be able to get rid of this line. It'll never go away unless I do something more invasive. So I would have to get like a fat transfer or some sort of surgery, which I don't want to do. But if it was ever to get really intense and I just couldn't keep up with it anymore, I would probably do something. I'm always so jealous of those beautiful cheeks that you just put, like, you've got those beautiful plump cheeks that you just put the blush on the apples. Yes. And I'm just like, oh, and I'm like, I need to put my blush like way above this line or else it'll emphasize my line. So I have to make this area pretty dark or else it'll emphasize it and it'll bring it forward. So I'm always really strategic about that. But yeah, so that is definitely for me, like if that was to ever get any heavier or if I was really starting to get some heavy bags underneath here, I would look to see what I needed to do. That's my thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully I won't have to. And hopefully if that ever came to the part that I needed to, that by that time technology would have improved so much better that there might be other things.
Well, that's sort of what I was thinking. So I've been mulling this over since our last chat going, is there anything that would make me want to take that step? And I think the thing that bothers me the most right now, which it could be very different in 10 years time or 15 years time, by the way, right? What bothers me might change.
Right.
And it's not really bad yet because I think a lot of the stuff I'm using at home, but it's really the change in this jawline, this whole jowls thing. And it's funny, I just watched your video today about the jowls. I was paying very close attention to it. I think a big droopy jowl would bother me. And it's something that I pay a lot of attention to now. So I like radio frequency and I tend to focus in this area. Yeah. It's not too bad right now. But you know what I did is I was talking to Gary about this actually. And he's like, well, look at your mom. Really, that's a really good indication of how you're going to age is look at your mom. Because mom has never taken care of her skin, ever, 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 ever. She has lived in Florida for most of her life. She is blonde, blue-eyed, Scandinavian, German skin. And, she's doing okay. Her skin looks pretty darn good. So I kind of go, maybe I'll just be okay. Maybe the genes will get me through,
Genes are a big factor.
They really are. So right now, I think my jawline may irritate me. I don't know. But I'd like to also think, to your point, 10 years time, 20 years time, there could be so many different technologies, non-invasive technologies. Who knows what access we're going to have to combat some of this stuff if we want it? Because things are changing exponentially, right? And there's new stuff coming out constantly, and you just never quite know. So I would never say never. I think it's important to never say never, except for threads. I will never do threads.
Yeah, I will say that too. I will never do threads. Yeah. And I'm hoping that I could really say I would never do filler. I don't know why. There's something about filler that I'm like, I don't think I would ever do that.
Yeah, I can't
I
see
don't
a
know.
circumstance I would. But I do think that it's foolish of us to ever really say, I'm never doing that. You said it yourself. The things we said we'd never do in our 20s, I'm sure we're doing regularly now.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. So you're right. You're absolutely right. So yeah. So it'll be interesting to see, yeah, where we are and what we can redo this video in like 3 years. And I like that idea too, doing
Yeah.
this video in 3 years and being like, hey, are we still
How are we still
feeling this
feeling?
way? And
Yeah. As
what has
every day
changed?
goes further south, right?
Mm-hmm,
As I say,
mm-hmm.
shit just goes south.
I know. I know. Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see how that, but both of us, I think also what's really important to know, like I'm postmenopausal. So I think, are you going through
I
menopause or
don't
are you
know
post?
exact. I'm going through it. I don't know if it's over
Okay.
yet. I need to get tested for it because I have a number of things that would not make it as easy to indicate. But I
Okay.
started Harry at 42, so I mean, I would
Yeah.
imagine I'm probably out of the waters at this stage. I'd say that the factory is closed, um,
Yeah.
but I just
And the
need to get
reason,
tests.
yeah, well, the reason that I say that is because estrogen and all of that, it makes a difference. If you're not going through menopause or you're not postmenopausal, your face and everything just, you have that more collagen and estrogen really helps with that. And so I also noticed that my face, now that I am postmenopausal, that unfortunately, I can't go on HRT. That's a whole nother story, but my face drops really quickly. Like after a few days, I'd say a couple of weeks of not doing radio frequency, my face will drop pretty quickly. So, and I think that might be the reason why it dropped so quickly for me. Anyway, is because of that. I can't get any additional estrogen in my body.
But you don't mind using devices, right? Are you like me? Like I find the whole thing kind of therapeutic. So do you don't mind
No, I do.
having
Yeah. No, I love using them. It's totally fine with me.
So thank goodness, because you will have to probably, it sounds like, use them forever and ever.
I will have to use them forever and ever. Yeah. And I'm fine with that. And over the years, the technology has improved so much. I mean, we went from, 20 minutes, 25 minutes to 30, well, about 25 to 30 minutes with a RF device. And now you can, do them in like 5 minutes, a couple times a week. So technology has really improved. So great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. And everyone, let us know, like, would you ever and have you had any issues or, do you also, I'd love to know for those of you that maybe do get Botox and fillers, because I get this question all the time. Do you use beauty devices in between and how long you have to wait so that you're not getting them so often? And I really don't know the answer to that. So I'm sure that everyone would love to know too. So thank you so much for being here, Mary.
That was fun.
I always love
you and
having
I
you. It
always
was fun.
have fun chatting, don't we?
I know, we
a
love
pleasure to be here
chatting.
and an honor. So thank you. I really appreciate
Thank
you having
you.
me on.
Yes, thank you so much. And if you like this video, go ahead and give it a like. Make sure you subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you do not miss my upcoming videos. And go check out Skin Obsessed Mary.
Bye, guys.